So the final book which I've got out to show you in this month's special collection spotlight session is a much more recent book. This is a book from 1933, and it is, as you can see from the spine, Family Ghosts and Ghostly Phenomena by Elliott O'Donnell. Now this is, Elliott O'Donnell was a writer who is mostly remembered for writing books about ghosts. So he did write novels, he did write fiction about ghosts, but he also wrote a number of books that give accounts and anecdotes of ghostly stories and hauntings as if they were fact. And interestingly, we have 3 books of his along these lines. 2 of them are in section DD, which is our miscellaneous section. That's where things which are a little bit difficult to classify go. This particular one, you'll notice, is from the CC collection, which is History and Antiquities. So this book has been catalogued onto our catalogue as a book of history. But I suppose in a way that works because these are effectively folklore stories. These are stories and anecdotes of things which are said to have happened. So Elliott O'Donnell, he was born in 1872 and he lived to be 93. He lived until 1965. He always claimed that he saw a ghost himself when he was 5, and within his books, and certainly within the introduction to this one, he makes it very clear that he personally does believe in ghosts. He believes in them as actual phenomena. However, he's very reasonable about it. He says that in the introduction to this book, he says that he's very aware that this is a subject on which there can only ever be conjecture, there can never be any absolute proof, and he doesn't expect other people, his readers, to necessarily follow the same beliefs as him, but he presents the information and makes it clear that he does believe in these things. So he had an interesting career, Elliott O'Donnell. He was born near Bristol, but as a young man he travelled to America and he worked on a cattle ranch. He then became a policeman during the Chicago railway strike in 1894. He came back to England and worked as a schoolmaster and then trained as an actor. He served in the British Army in World War I, and after the war he acted on stage and in film, but also became famous for writing these books about ghostly phenomena. And during his later life, he lectured and broadcast on TV and radio about occult matters. So his first book was published in 1904, and that was a novel. He published several novels after that, as well as many of these kind of true ghost story books, and these were very, very popular. So, as I say, we have 3 of them in the collection here. One is called Rooms of Mystery from 1931. One is called Ghosts with a Purpose from 1951, and this one falls in the middle from 1933. This is, as I say, Family Ghosts and Ghostly Phenomena. Author of Rooms of Mystery, which we also have. You can see we bought it fairly shortly after its publication. It was published 1933 and we bought it in January 1934. It was very popular at first, so it looks as though for the first 3 or 4 years when we had it, it was borrowed quite frequently. But then there were no borrowings between probably the late 1930s and 1948. Then the next one, 1978, and then 2000, so 30 odd years in between borrowings of this book. And then 20 years later, I've borrowed it in order to do some research for this particular session. So I found that this book is actually really good fun. It's very nice to read, it's very easy to read. O'Donnell has a really engaging and entertaining way of writing, and I suspect that I am going to read all of this book and probably his other books as well, because they're just so much fun. The one thing particularly that I wanted to show you that I discovered whilst reading the beginning of this book is a local story. So this, if you can believe it, is a story of a ghost fish. So the first paragraph in this chapter talks about the family of the Cliftons, of Clifton Hall in Nottinghamshire, near Clifton Grove. You can see in a footnote, he makes the note that Clifton Grove was the scene of a poem by Henry Kirkwight. And since we are here in the Neville Hoskins room at the moment, I can ask Katie to turn the camera up to the image we have, the painting of Henry Kirkwight in Clifton Grove, writing that poem. One wonders if he saw the ghost fish whilst he was there. But basically, it's a report that at any time when a member of the Clifton family is about to die, a ghost sturgeon appears in the Trent near to Clifton Hall. And the paragraph queries whether this sturgeon is actually a ghost or is in fact just a real fish, but suggests that maybe it is a ghost, and ends with the very deadpan comment that I absolutely love: fish ghosts do not appear to be very common. So this book is fantastic. I've really enjoyed reading this. As I say, the author suggests in the introduction that he very much believes that ghosts are real. One does wonder how much theatricality he put into his telling of these stories. Certainly it makes it very entertaining, and I'm very pleased to see that we have 3 of his books that I shall be looking up and reading myself. Good Halloween reading.